What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Instagram podcast, man. Today I have a special guest. I got my former manager of my old position here with me. His name is Daniel. Everybody, welcome Daniel to the podcast,
Hey.
man. How you doing today, man?
Doing great.
It's good to see you. We
It's
haven't
really
kind of
great to
like,
see you.
yeah, we kind of haven't like linked up in a year, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We've kind of been, just living life, being adults and stuff like that. What's new with you?
Well, we never got to go fishing, which is.
Dude, tell him the story about that, man.
Was it twice, right?
It was 3 times, I think.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it was 3 times.
Waking up at some ungodly hour, except you got to sleep in that one time. Going to go fishing with Devin was just was something I was really looking forward to because he always looks happy. He'll always have like some giant fish and a smile on his face. I'm like, this has got to be a great experience.
Yeah.
There we are meeting up in the parking lot of the commissary waiting to go do something, and you realize like the guy that owns the boat or pilots it, he was too cautious. He's like, 6-foot waves, and I'm like, I don't care, you got life vests, but then he's like, 9-foot waves. I like, they didn't get higher just recently, but every time we went, it was like some divine intervention trying to keep us from dying or something. I don't know.
Yeah, so context, there was like storms every single time we were trying to go out, and then the captain of the ship, due to the weather, he wouldn't allow us to go out. So we get up at like 4:30 in the morning, be there by like 5. I think get up 4:30, be there by 5.
Yeah.
And decide whether or not like we're leaving, and that ended up happening 3 times and never took off. We never got to fish.
Yeah, and then I quit bugging Devin about it. I still wanted to go, but I was like,
Yeah. I mean, there's still time, right?
Yeah, there is.
There's still time. I think we should probably talk to Devin, man. Talk to Devin like right after this and be like, hey, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go do let's go fishing, deep sea fishing, right? Yeah, because you mentioned you saw him probably like a month ago too, right? You said he looks good.
He looks really good and dropped weight.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty cool because I think he's in a good place.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think he was. Not that he was in a bad place, but he's in a better place now. So it's kind of neat to see how it's affecting him, like even physically.
Yeah, that's cool. And you yourself too have lost some weight too, man. You said 27 pounds.
Yeah, 27 pounds.
Congrats, man. I'll give you flowers now, dude. That's not an easy task or a task to look shy on, man. So what have you changed to in order to make that?
Kind of a mentality, like if you can't control what you eat, if you can't control what goes in your body, then like who's in charge? Like it's amazing that we have this ability to do pretty much whatever we want in life. Yet some people act like they're powerless. And I worked with people with addictions and stuff like that for a long time.
Yeah.
And I thought like, man, I'm not happy with the way that I look. There are some things you can't change. You get older or, your hair thins or whatever. Yeah. But like there are things that are modifiable. There are things you can change. And so I thought like, why wouldn't I want to be better?
Yeah.
And so it was that kind of mentality where I'm like, I'll give it a shot. I'll give it 2 weeks of doing the right thing every day. Even during my birthday, I couldn't eat my cake. It was like one of those things where you're like, you guys can have it, but I wanted to stick with it.
That's
prove
cool,
that I
man.
could do it.
Yeah.
And it was 15 pounds within those first 2 weeks.
You lost 15 pounds within 2 weeks?
Yeah, just carbohydrates.
Just no carbs. Yeah, no carbs.
Right.
That's crazy. 15 pounds in 2 weeks. And, that's insane, man.
And then after that, it was a matter of just throwing in a treadmill or lifting or things like that. Nothing really strenuous, but still like adding something to it.
Yeah.
And then, because the weight loss drops off pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And
you don't want the skin to actually start to sag.
Right.
You gotta replace it. Yeah.
But so it was one of those things where you see like other people changing, and then you realize we all have that ability to do that for ourselves. So why not?
Yeah. I think that's beautiful, man. I absolutely love it, and kudos to you again, man. 15 pounds in 2 weeks and then 27 pounds to this day, and then cutting out carbs. And what you mentioned earlier, mentioning the fact that if you can't control what you eat, like, who's really in charge? And that's huge. That's really huge. That's really wise words, because I think they say, like, for every man to, like, if you want to be able to conquer the world, figuratively speaking, it's like control what you put in your mouth and control your sexual desires, and you could do anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
and it's not always easy, but you know.
Yeah. I mean, there's a point, right? The discipline, the fact that it's your birthday and you're not like, oh, it's my birthday, so I think I deserve at least a piece of cake. Right. Like,
we do that too much.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah,
we live in a world where everything's filtered. So you filter what you say so you can keep your job. You filter, half the photos you see or videos you see of people, it's not them.
That's scary. You know? The filters for me scary, man.
Right. And so, what can you do to actually, I would hate to use a filter to make myself look thinner. Yeah. Only to have people look and be like, you're so much better looking in photographs, but in person you're kind of a slob. So it's there's something fundamentally wrong with our society where we don't try. Yeah. And it's our culture to a certain degree. Not saying that everybody doesn't try, but there are enough people that realize that you could fix it, superficially. And frankly, no, I don't want that. Yeah. So
yeah, that actually segues to something that recently happened to you, and I'm not. I kind of even hate to bring it up because it's like it involves like a celebrity, and I'm not really. I don't like follow too many celebrities. Nor do I care about too much of what they have going on, because I just realized like they're human beings too. But this was a little bit more, I guess. I can't find the right word, but this one I think means a little bit more. Just 'cause, like, DC Young Fly, he's like a comedian. They have a popular podcast too. He's been on he's been on like MTV for doing shows and stuff like that. Well, he recently lost his wife, and he lost his wife because I think they could correct me, but he lost his wife because she was getting plastic surgery done. And she ended up, I guess just giving out. But to our point, right? Like the filters and these. What they're doing is they're creating these unrealistic bodies that people are trying to achieve, and possibly going underneath that knife to be able to achieve these bodies, and then, it costs them their lives. Yeah.
I drove onto the base in Jacksonville, and I was wearing a scrub top, and the gate guard was talking to someone before I showed up, and he said, like...
so for context, Dennis are RN. Yeah, just for context.
So, I'm driving on to base, and he said, hey, I'm thinking about LASIK surgery. I see you're a nurse. Yeah. He's like, would you recommend it? And I'm like, 5% of the time it goes wrong. Like, your vision's worse. So is there something more important? Like, your vision's really important. Yeah. Your mental health is extremely important. But, I mean, I said, like, you're taking a chance. And if you knew that tonight there was a 5% chance you would be killed, would you have come to work? And he was like, I would have called in sick. And I was like, exactly. So look at your eyesight the same way. Like, you're going to mess around with your eyesight. I said, your glasses aren't thick. You just want to do something cosmetic. And it can go wrong. And, so much of what we can do, we do for ourselves, but it's work, and part of it is I don't know, if I didn't have a flappy neck, or if I had more hair, but I'm not gonna put a wig on, and I'm not so,
please don't.
So I'm not wearing a wig, and I'm not gonna have something like my skin cut off, because like things go wrong, infections happen, and I think you kind of have to just be blessed with the stuff that you have. Yeah.
If you don't got the looks, have the charisma.
Yeah. Kick it up a notch and develop a personality, So, it's the only reason I exist. I've been able to get through a lot. But Yeah, and you got to figure that we're so fortunate to be where we are. I mean, you know, we're on a friggin' rock hurtling through space at a catastrophically fast speed. You know, like we're really lucky to be able to be alive right now.
Yeah.
And then you think about how many times you could have bought it, how many times things could have just ended, how many poor decisions were made along the way, and how many bullets you may have dodged. You know, so you're just blessed to be where you are. So you ought to just kind of roll with it and take what you have.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of people, like you work at working out. You know, and that's one of those things that's admirable. But a lot of people try to take shortcuts. A lot of people, you know, use steroids, human growth hormone, things like that.
See, Daniel, that's another discussion though, because I don't think steroids are a shortcut.
Yeah,
I don't think
and that's
shortcuts.
the thing. But here's what we don't do in our society: is listen. So you could convince me.
Yeah.
You know, like I could listen to what you had to say, and I'd be like, "Holy crap! Now I'm enlightened."
Yeah.
But that's something that I don't think we do in our society. I don't think we listen to somebody else's point of view. Like I don't think human growth hormone's bad.
Yeah.
I just feel bad that Barry Bonds has an asterisk by his name. You know, he's like one of my favorite baseball players of all time. You know.
What do you mean he has an asterisk by his name?
Because he's the home run leader.
Yeah,
and everyone's like, yeah, but he was on
steroids. Yeah, I think all sports should allow PEDs, man. It's entertainment for a reason. I want these guys to be the biggest, the strongest, the juiciest. You know, that's how you get to see like who's really like the best. Because you're pushing the body way past the natural human potential. So why not? You know, in regards to PEDs being a shortcut, it's not necessarily a shortcut. You still have to put in a shit ton of work, and you still have to diet exactly the same or even better. And you have to take even into more account everything else, because you are putting stuff into your body that affects everything, hormones.
There was a guy that committed murder in Pittsburgh. And he knew he was going to be convicted, but he was out on bond, and he went on steroids because he knew it was a racial murder. So he was going to go to prison, and bad things were going to happen to him. So he went on steroids. He got fat. Like he didn't hit the gym. He didn't go on steroids and get buff. Like I'm gonna, I'm going to prison, and it's I'm gonna be formidable. No, his head got small because the rest of him just got big, and he was fat.
Yeah,
and so I mean, you have to use it the right way.
Exactly, you have to still put in the work, man.
Yeah, and there, I had a nephew that had. A growth problem, went on HGH and got big. He grew. He actually grew. What his body wasn't doing for him, he finally was able to do it chemically.
Yeah.
So I'm not, I've seen the benefits of it.
Yeah.
Especially with Barry Bonds. But the one thing is, and you can talk about this in just about any part of our society, is that everybody has an opinion, but people aren't necessarily willing to listen.
Yeah.
And so when you hear someone say something like, "Oh, well, that's different," or "I didn't think of it that way," you have to, or we should, pause and be like, "How is it not a shortcut?" Because I'd like to hear that. Because
because as you simply stated, man, you still have to put in the work. Just because you inject yourself, like that dude became fat. He didn't look like he worked out at all. You still have to work out. So steroids help, of course. That's what they're meant to do. They're meant to enhance the look of the physique, but you still have to put in the work.
Yeah.
So is it a shortcut? Not really.
It's a science too, because you can't do it dangerously. You have to actually know what you're doing. You have to know what a cycle is. You have to, there's a whole mathematics to it that I don't think my brain grasps.
Neither do I, but More Plates, More Dates, Rob Derrick, he grasps that shit to a T.
Yeah.
He has a YouTube channel called, Rob Derrick has a YouTube channel called More Plates, More Dates, and it's really popular amongst like just meatheads, just people that enjoy going to gym, and he breaks down like who's on steroids, what possibly steroids they do, how they cycle it.
Right.
He's a fucking chemical wizard, man.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy, but that's just kind of my take. Like, it makes you look better, makes you stronger, but it's not really a shortcut.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'd be willing to hear that.
Yeah,
you know,
I don't see why like we have sports that like ban all these like products. It's like just leave everybody take them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The same thing with Armstrong, right?
Right.
It's like everybody was juicing. You know what I mean? It's like it wasn't as entertaining as it was. It is as entertaining as it was because he was on steroids. If nobody was on steroids, then you wouldn't care about these that famous race, right? Because the scores would be so horrible.
Well, back in the day, so when you look at performance enhancing drugs, there are a lot of things that happen. So even before steroids were popularly used, there's a guy back in the day, Lyle Alzado. I think he played for the Raiders. He did a lot of steroids, and I don't think he did it wisely, and it ended up,
costing his life. Yeah. But back in those days, they didn't have that type of information on surgery. Right?
They really didn't. Yeah. They were just doing D-ball and hoping for the best.
Yeah.
But Major League Baseball, when they would go to take the field before they left the clubhouse, they had two coffee pots. One was called leaded and one was called unleaded. Back in the day, gasoline used to either have lead in it or not. Here, their coffee pots, one was just coffee, and the other coffee pot that was leaded had cocaine in it.
Oh, shit.
And so they knew that if they, drank coffee with cocaine in it, it gave them great awareness, and, whether it made them better baseball players or not.
Of course it did.
Beat out that throw to first. But so it's always been going on. People have been using things. I wish the guy would have stayed with the Steelers, Kendrell Bell. It's come out that he used, not Kendrell Bell, Le'Veon Bell.
You watch baseball?
I listen to it. So, because it's non-threatening. It doesn't take any mental power to do it. And if you just need to zone out, you can listen to baseball because it's boring as hell. And it's not stressful because none of it matters.
Okay.
But Le'Veon Bell was running back for the Steelers, and he smoked weed.
Yeah,
and it probably was a benefit to him because he was one of the best running backs that didn't look like he was trying. He would wait for a hole to open up, and he'd have the football, and he'd be standing there kind of looking, and I'm like, run with that thing. But he somehow benefited from it. So there are a lot of things that can make someone better. Adderall for a person with ADHD. Sheesh. It can take them from being scattered to giving them mental focus.
Even if you don't have ADHD.
Right.
Yeah. Mental focus on that is ridiculous.
And put you at next level stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it comes to abuse of anything, then it starts to get bad.
Yeah.
If you don't have control.
Absolutely. Right. Balance. You hear a lot of people preach about a lot of things: motivation, discipline, ambition, whatever it is, right? I don't hear enough people preaching about balance. Balance is so important.
Yeah.
It's probably the most important thing. Balance in your life. Have fun. Work hard.
Yeah.
Right? Just like drink water, drink alcohol on the weekends, Monday through Friday go back to drinking water.
Yeah.
Like balance, right? Like I'm trying to see where I'm trying to go with it, but it's what allows you to be sane. Right, keeping that balance, and it's constant work. Like you don't achieve balance and then you stop working towards it. You have to continue to work towards maintaining that balance, right? Like what you're doing right now with losing weight.
Yeah,
You texted me. You said, "Hey, I have to meal prep."
Right.
Right. So that way I don't have an excuse tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's balance,
right.
man.
And the one thing that we all do is we come up with excuses.
Yeah.
So when it came to birthday cake, it would have been all just fine. Like, that's what people do on their birthdays, but not when you made a commitment to yourself.
Yeah, you know, you sound like him.
I wish I could be a.
You do this
like that. Yeah, that's the motivational guy running and like he scares me, So
David Goggins, but he'd be proud of you.
Well, you gave me the example, and I think he used him as the example. When I was hospital corpsman in the Navy, I was training with Marines.
Yeah,
and we were having our field week, so we're marching out to the field. We did this real serpentine route to get to where we needed to be.
Yeah.
And when we got there, we started it all over. I was like, son of a... And my motivation left, and it was the first time I fell out. And I'd never been the guy causing the accordion effect in the line until then, because I realized we were already there.
Yeah.
And you guys are just messing with me now. This guy invited that. He wanted to be pushed harder.
Yeah.
He didn't want to stop, and it comes down to mindset.
Yeah.
Because how did I just become tired? Like, that doesn't happen. So it was my mindset, and I couldn't correct it. And so, and you pointed out, like, this guy. He's like, no, I want them to do that. I don't want them to have me quit running,
Which you did a great job, man, because, he had that famous, Joe Rogan was saying on his podcast where, like, Dave Goggins shot him a text, like, wishing him happy birthday. Yeah. And Dave Goggins just going in, like, I hope you fucking got up. I hope you went at it. He's like, motherfuckers love, what he say? He's like, birthdays love motherfuckers because it's lazy. Yeah. It's like, oh, it's my birthday. I could just be lazy. And he's like, no, you go after it. You know what I mean? Fucking do what you say you was going to do. It.
Right.
That's what she did. So that's dope, man. And actually, what you just mentioned brings up a good point for me too. Like what happened with me, right? So like I've been doing since I got back from all these exercises and stuff like that, I've been just getting back to being consistent with jiu-jitsu.
Right. And
man, for like the first 2-3 weeks I was back, it was rough. I was getting beat up, man. I always get beat up, but at the same time, like, this was more on my body and just my cardio.
Right.
From being away for a month, I'm just like, dude, I'm dying out there, man. Plus, I was battling, like, other shit. I was on antibiotics and stuff like that, so I got sick for a bit, too. And then I finally, today is Sunday. Yesterday, Friday I rolled. Not Friday. Wednesday I rolled, and I realized that my breath had just started to come back because we have a competition coming up on the 25th. Make sure you guys check it out, right? So I have a competition coming up on the 25th, and we've been prepping for it. So what ends up happening is we'd roll for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And then the people that's competing would stay back and roll for another 30 minutes.
Right.
Right. So after an hour and a half, you're really dead.
Yeah.
Right. Because you're staying in all the time and you're fucking dead. And then you go back and then you roll for another 30 minutes. You're like, you're done. Yeah. It's the most physical and mentally demanding thing ever, right? But to get to the point, I'm sorry I'm going on this rant. To get to the point, I realized that my breath wasn't holding me back.
Yeah. My
cardio caught up to itself after I rolled Wednesday, but it was my mind that was telling me that I'm tired. Right? Yeah, but I wasn't really tired because when I'd sit out, I'd be like, I'm breathing fine.
Right.
I'm not as mentally gassed as I thought I was. Like, what is this? And it's like, my brain has a breaking point and I need to find it and push past that again, right? So,
well, you may see if you watch this back, I probably have this look on my face where I'm like, oh crap, because I have these moments where I realize I'm a sellout, or I have these moments where I just realize I'm full of crap. So I told you one of the ideas of losing weight was really to feel better about myself, but on my bucket list is Mount Fuji. And, kids climb up Mount Fuji, but like I'm older. I want to do it. I don't want to fail. And so losing weight, I want to carry less me up there.
Yeah.
And it just dawned on me. I'm a hypocrite. Because I hit up a doctor for a prescription for a medication that eliminates altitude sickness. You know, what would that be? That would be a performance enhancing drug. You know, if it's gonna help me get up a mountain. So I'm sitting here thinking like, I just did that yesterday, and I now I'm, you know, just knocking on performance enhancing drugs, and I took ferrous sulfate, which is just an iron supplement. But the more iron you have in your blood, the more oxygen capacity you have as far as carrying oxygen. And I thought, like,
oh wow,
yeah. So I realized here I am.
We're such a wizard, dude.
Here I am, like, doing these things, and I just said, "Oh, they're cheating," you know. And I'm like, "Oh, wait a second."
Yeah, I didn't even. I'm trying to think, man. Would that be considered like? Well, altitude sickness would just prevent you from being able to continue, right? That doesn't necessarily have any. But is that
if
because
my goal is to climb up the mountain? Then
yeah, but is that because you get? Is it because you get altitude sickness because you're out of shape, or is it just something like you get because
it's your body's reaction to lack of oxygen, and you know, going from 19% down to 14% at that altitude.
So that's correctable by working out, exercising.
But then there are things that you can do on top of that, which is adding more iron
to your blood.
Like more hemoglobin, the more ability oxygen has to bind.
Yeah, you're doping, man.
Yeah. So if you see me go, I'm like, oh man, I guess yeah.
So, but see, nothing's wrong with that, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's and it's because you're an artist, you're able to like think on shit like that, right? Like we have to like Google that shit, but you're like, oh, this would help, right? That's so cool, man.
Yeah, I took my daughter to this place in Ona called Adventure Forest, and I thought we were gonna go on this zip line and the drone would take a video of us, and I went to the wrong place. Here, this place was like a confidence high rope course. I'm like, this is why I'm sunburnt and I look like a lit match. So you know, I get my daughter there and I was like, oh man, I think we're in for it. And the thing is that I'm pushing myself as hard as I can, so I'm exhausted every night.
Yeah.
And if I can't make it up a mountain, then I would have put myself in better shape, and I would have lost, 27 pounds. And so if falling short of a goal happens for me, did I lose?
No, you never lose.
You know? And so I'm like, I can look at a situation and be like, man, like I don't weigh as much and I feel better about myself. I wake up early in the morning. You
meal prep, you're not eating bullshit. Yeah, you never lose. You gain everything. You don't lose anything.
Yeah. So it's just a lot of it is mindset.
Yeah, perspective is everything.
That's why I think half our country they don't invest in mental health because mental health isn't sexy. It's not attractive, and you realize that like a lot of people are in trouble in our society.
Yeah.
And we just kind of push them to the side.
Yeah.
And it's kind of tough to look back at having to go back.
Yeah.
And when you can view America from this vantage point, you realize like I'm glad I don't watch the news anymore.
Oh yeah, it's not good for your mental health, man.
Yeah.
No news site is good for my mental health. I don't watch it. I don't read it. I'm good on it, man. It's very that's why I enjoy living out here in Oki so much.
Yeah.
Man. It's what he was talking about. It's like you see negative things, that's what you put into your brain, and you start to have these negative emotions. Right. If you see positive things, that's what you put in your body, and that's what you have. You have positive mindset, positive control, and you're watching people getting killed, watching fights, violence, like all that is like what you're putting into yourself. So it doesn't make you feel like the best human being you could be, right? Violence, anything that's you don't see it out here, like the homelessness. You don't see people struggling, right? No one.
There's a guy down at Starbucks. That's it. That's the only homeless guy I've seen. He's happy. You know, he waves at me. And,
yeah. But he's not really homeless.
Yeah,
though.
he has a place to go.
Yeah, he has a place to put his head in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He just...
I got out of politics in large part because I could look at the other party and be like, I don't believe in what they do.
No.
But I got out of politics because my own party didn't do things when they had the chance to. You know? And so they were much more disappointing to me than the enemy. If your own side is letting you down, then what are you doing every year? You're getting more people elected that are only going to not carry through on anything or make anything any better. And to me, that was exhausting. And I was happy to get out of it. And I worked at like every single level, you know, worked my way up through it, and just seeing there was no benefit and there's no caring. There's just this idea that you're going to divide people constantly. And it's the old theory of putting red ants and black ants in a jar. And they'll get along just fine
until someone shakes the jar.
You know, and our jar's constantly getting shaken. So we're forced to focus on differences when in all reality the only reason we talk to anybody is because of our commonalities. So if we would have never worked together, we wouldn't be talking right now because we would have never met. You know? And you know, so the more shared experiences you have, the more likely you're actually going to be friends with somebody or decent with a person. But we're not geared in our society to look at our commonalities. We're always pushed to look at our differences, the great divide, and that puts people as sides as opposed to like one, you know. And so you look at Japan, and it has its flaws just as much as any other country, but there is kind of like a collective.
Very much is.
A 6-year-old can ride a subway in Tokyo. What the, you know? Like I'm looking at a kid younger than my daughter. On a subway alone. And why is that? That's because everybody in that society knows that kid is their responsibility. So that kid is going to have unfettered access to wherever they need to be. And that's what we're sadly lacking.
I don't know if you could fix that in America, though, man. It's so much of a melting pot. You'd literally have to brainwash every single person. It's I think it's a pipe dream, man. It really is. It's a pipe dream. Every time I hear someone preaching something that's like and we'll all get along, I'm like, you know, no. But that's what you're going back to, man. You're going back to the worst of it, bro. You're going back to Cali. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I just said that from my... Are you going to Sandy? So it's not too bad. It's like if you had to go to hell, at least you'd be like, it's a dry heat. It's not humid. So... No, I'm so disrespectful. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I gotta decline probably that. Something important. It's not important, man. But yeah, so I can't believe I just California. It's that was horrible. You know? It's just one of those things where when you find out like. That's what you chose, cause you know, like wow. Oh, for real, that was a choice. Oh yeah. Oh man, that's what makes it horrible. But I did you not know? I thought we were going to the East Coast. I thought we were going to Florida or Virginia. You know, and this is why I must stay single. Yeah, you know, yeah, it's. That was fun. So, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. But everything... It's gonna work out. It's gonna work out. I don't have Cali's an option. Isn't bad, man. Yeah, Cali isn't bad. I didn't want to be here. And now I'm here.
and it's not bad. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Like, I
and
didn't want to
Oki.
come to Okinawa. I love Florida.
yeah.
Everyone down there is completely insane.
Yeah.
Uh,
But Oki is 100 times better than Cali, man.
Oh, yeah. I know. What's sad is, like everything in our society is bizarre. You can't buy a used car that's actually going to run for less than $20,000. But here you can buy like a $3,000 beater.
Yeah.
And it runs great.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
All you have to do is put gas in it and oil. So
You're not gonna see any like meth heads. You're not gonna see needles on the street out here. You're not gonna see tents.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I have yet to see a Japanese tweaker.
Yeah. That's why I said, bro, Oki's 100 times better than Cali, bro.
Yeah. It's yeah. I'm not looking forward to it. Yeah, at all. But it's what you make of it, and that's what life is. Life can be very disappointing at times, and my life it's been just fraught with things where you could just be like, that's it, I'm out.
Yeah.
You kind of muscle up and you realize I gotta figure this out.
Yeah, that's very true. That is true. Perspective.
Yeah.
Perspective is everything, man. It really is, man.
So I know it's gonna be horrible, but all the more I know that the rules of employment, if you go away from the island for a year, then you can bid on jobs and come on back, And so if my wife doesn't stay in the Navy, then we can both bid on jobs either here or mainland, and go do that.
Yeah.
Because my last job was, it was it didn't pay well, but it was one of the greatest jobs that I've ever had.
Oh, wow.
Working as a school nurse. And
oh, okay,
it was just
cool.
Bizarre.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? I used to detox people off heroin. I used to run a psychiatric emergency room where every day you're kind of like, maybe I'm going to get smashed in the face by, or something horrible is going to happen.
Yeah.
Every day had a threat.
Yeah.
And then there you are, like, oh, so you bumped your head at the playground. Wow.
Yeah.
My life is not tough.
Yeah.
I have no reason to complain about anything.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I love that for you. Yeah, so you stick with it, right?
Yeah.
Plus, I feel like you'd be memorable for those kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just especially around schools, I mean, you're memorable for me, right? So I can only imagine for kids. Like, I totally enjoy having those conversations we used to have in the office sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? Just like on break or something like that. It's like, yeah, I love these. I think I miss those the most, honestly.
Right.
Yeah. I don't have this.
Yeah, there are certain eras in your life that you can look back on and you'll be like, well, that was really, it was a good group of people that I worked with.
Yeah.
Or it was and being in the nursing profession, sometimes you hit a stride where you have a good crew to work with, and then other times it's just not that way.
Yeah.
And every day you go to work is a chore.
Yeah.
And
the vicissitudes of life.
Yeah, and then you have to find your reward somewhere else. You have to find it, because sometimes work is rewarding, and sometimes it's just a disaster.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
There was this old. So I worked for this psychologist, and later on, when I was a psychiatric technician in the Navy, and when I started working at a drug and alcohol treatment center, this guy got a job there. And I'm like, oh my God, I get to work with this guy all over again. He was, because we went to Haiti when they were sending the people over on makeshift boats, which is just horrible. People dying in the ocean, and like it was.
That was for the humanitarian relief.
Yeah.
After the hurricanes.
Yeah, it was
earthquake, right?
it was in 1994. They were sending like they were just trying to flee their country because of political upheaval.
Oh,
And,
it sounds like today too. So
yeah,
nothing's changed. Yeah.
right. And so I ended up working for this psychologist again later on, about 15 years down the road, and he had these great stories, and he did a lot of research. And one of the things that he did was he worked with interviewing prisoners of war and looking at all the research data that they had for the military as far as psychology went. And there was this one thing that he came across. He was able to talk to some of the survivors that guarded the piers after Pearl Harbor. All right. So when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, a lot of the people didn't die right away. A lot of the 3,000 that died progressively over a period of days because they ran out of oxygen, because they were trapped inside of capsized ships. So they would put Marines out on the piers to kind of keep an eye out on what was going on. And they found that a large portion of the Marines suffered from serious mental illness. Yet some of the people didn't. Some of these people that stood guard on the piers had mental illness, had to get out of the service, couldn't continue. Others of them were perfectly fine. And what they found out was they had this stress, kind of a PTSD experience, because they could hear the people inside the ship hitting the walls of the ship with hammers, whatever they had, to let you know that they were alive. But over the period of an hour or so, the tapping, would go away. And so on your watch, you could hear, just banging all over the hull of a ship, and then you could progressively tell that these people are dead and these people are still alive, But why did half the people go crazy and half the people didn't? They found out that somebody that was on watch alone listening to that lost their fucking mind. If you stood guard with somebody else, it was a shared experience, and you were perfectly fine to continuing serve, in the Marine Corps. And you look at life, it's what you need. You need to go through something with somebody else.
Yeah, it takes the pressure off.
Yeah.
When somebody else is with you. That's why it's easier to commit crimes when someone else is involved, because the pressure is solely on you.
Yeah, and most of the things that we go through in life become acceptable if there's a shared experience. Yeah. If somebody else has been through something brutal too, it makes your ability to get through it so much better.
Yeah.
There are people that can make through it, alone and do things on their own.
Oh, but he has demons.
Right.
That dude got PTSD out the ass.
And, as long as you have somebody that you share the experience with, as long as you have somebody, that you can kind of go through life with and kind of be traumatized together, it makes things better. It makes you more capable. The word resilience is overused, but you have an added level of resiliency if you have a shared experience. Yeah. And whether it's positive or negative.
The word resilience is overused, but he still uses resilience.
Yeah. Well, it's because it's sad.
It's a good word, man.
It is.
Just use it.
Well, we did a study in nursing school of foreign exchange students. And we found that, no shocker, the Japanese were off the charts suicidal. And it was the familial expectations. And it was, with Japanese, it was really high. With other cultures in the Asian community, it was, there were varying degrees.
Yeah.
But it was the familial expectations of excellence. Yeah. And the people that were going to school and their parents were like, try your best. They were doing all right. It was the people that had unrealistic expectations placed on them. Like, You're not going to be the salutatorian. Well, why even come home? So,
yeah.
But
yeah.
so there is something to resilience.
Yeah, no, that was a beautiful story earlier too, man. No, I always love your stories, man, and hopefully I can get you on this podcast again before you leave. Just it'd be more for me personally, right? Because I enjoy talking to you and having these conversations. But I think we're coming up probably in like an hour, an hour and 5.
I almost drank your microphone. It's been too long.
You're
for
good,
me.
man. Yeah. Anything you kind of want to leave the people with, just something that's been on your chest lately, or just something that that's kind of stuck with you over the years, just some wisdom.
I guess when you're looking at advice, if I remember the day I was getting out of the service.
You can talk to them.
Yeah, when I was getting out of the service, I was sitting right beside a chaplain, and when I went to get out and sign my paperwork, I turned around, I looked at the chaplain, I was like, give me a one-liner I can live by. I said, because I think you're here for a reason. So I said, tell me something.
Yeah.
And so the chaplain looked at me and he was like, it's real easy. He said, never burn a bridge. And the more I thought about it, the only bridges I burnt in my life, I never intended on going back. I'm going to burn that so I don't make stupid decisions and go back and do something. So the only times I burnt bridges is when I was making poor life decisions and I didn't want to go back to it. So I'll burn those bridges every day.
Yeah.
But difficult situations, you don't burn bridges. And how often are we right?
Yeah.
Someone once said that they asked an audience, what does it feel like to be wrong? And everyone's like, oh, embarrassing, frustrating. They went on with all these different things. And the guy said, no. What it feels like to be wrong is exactly what it feels like to be right. Because you don't know you're wrong until someone points it out. So we go through life and we can be wrong. And if you burn a bridge and you're wrong, you can never go back and correct it because you burnt that bridge.
Yeah.
So when you're certain you're never going back and it's worth burning a bridge because people are evil, we'll burn that bridge.
Yeah.
But you got to be real cautious about ever burning a bridge. You're doing someone dirty.
Yeah.
You have to realize, like, I could actually be wrong about this. And if I'm wrong, I need to course adjust. I need to go back.
Yeah.
And I need to start over again. And I can't go back. I can't start over if I burn a bridge. So, it's one of those things where it's helped me. Yeah. Because it lets me know kind of how this all started with performance enhancing drugs, where I'm like, I can be wrong and I can be convinced and I can be educated. And if someone doesn't look like you and if someone doesn't talk like you, it doesn't mean you can't learn from them. And I think that we shut so much out because that guy's old.
Yeah,
or that guy's too young. He doesn't know anything.
Yeah.
Well, really? Maybe we shouldn't shut something off, because shutting something off is the same as burning a bridge. You're basically canceling it out and you're not learning anything. I'm learning something new every day, like how to back up a car. And I'm gonna learn how to buff out some stuff on my paint, but so you learn something new every day. Like maybe I should check my mirrors. There's the second you quit learning, or the second you think you're self-actualized, you fooled yourself and you're done.
Yeah.
You should realize that there's always learning to be done, and some of it's just from listening, and opening yourself up. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, man. Those are wise words from Daniel, man. And obviously, guys, you guys know why I brought him on the podcast, man, because he has so much to say, and it's very much heartfelt. It's genuine, and they have meaning. The words have meaning, and I always enjoy listening to him. Ever since we were working together, he'd have those 5-minute breaks of just telling a quick story to just kind of give life some relativity and some perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Mr. Daniel, man. I'm gonna try to have him on a podcast again before he leaves, because this was well needed for me as well as for you guys. And I think another conversation probably push it to an hour and 30 minutes. We'll see how much time he has available, and we'll go from there. All right, peace.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.